There's a message that's been coming through the whole day. It's been sitting with me since this morning, and as you can see, it's now late night, and I'm still sitting holding this message for you, and I'm going to share it with you. The message is about you're not alone. You are not alone. Those are so few words, and yet as I speak about them, I'm going to show you those words in a way that you've never seen them before, because so often we hear concepts there in the ears, hear them, but we don't hear them in the heart because we haven't been trained to. We don't necessarily know how. And today, my goal is to take those words from here in your ears into here in your heart. So let's see. Whew, the pressure's on now. Let's see if I can do it. You're not alone. What is aloneness, though? Let's start with that. Aloneness is an illusion, and your brain can understand that, but it doesn't make the feeling any less real. It's a very real experience. Many people will say to you, don't worry, you're not alone. Don't worry. They're almost convincing you that you're not alone. But when the feeling is there, it's pervasive and it's very, very real. And the horrible thing is, no matter how you convince yourself, I'm not alone. I'm pretty sure I'm not alone. Yeah, that's right. I'm somewhere connected to God. Oh yeah, I'm somewhere connected to the universe. No matter how you try to convince yourself, the moment something bad happens in your life, boom, you're going to go right back there again because it's unresolved. So let's get it resolved. Let's not have words to convince you. Let's rather have an experience for you to fall back on. And the experience of wholeness is what you fall back on. So that becomes the remedy to loneliness. Loneliness, if I were to explain it to you, when people say to me, I'm so lonely, I'm experiencing such a pervasive sense of abandonment, being forgotten, being invisible, being unseen, being left behind, I don't matter. However it shows up for you, this feeling of aloneness. It can show up as, I so want a partner. I so wish that somebody was there for me. Maybe it was a best friend you were looking for, or a lover that you were looking for. However it shows up in your world, when you're experiencing loneliness, what you are really, really experiencing is a sense of separation from your divinity. When you understand that, you've got the remedy. So it's reconnection. Reconnection is the cure. It is not being surrounded by 1,000 people. Call number 125 in the Plasma Live Call Library. We dealt with this. And you can go listen to that call if you are a member of the online community. If you're not, go join up, go listen to that call. It is honestly life-changing. Honestly, call 125. And in fact, the 10 or 20 calls before that, all of them are absolutely life-changing. But you've all had this experience before, where you can be in a room of 1,000 people and yet somehow still feel alone. Therefore, loneliness is not how many people are around you. That is not what and most people think that that's what it is. People think, I'm lonely because I don't have people around me, or I don't have people that are close to me, or people that understand me. No. Loneliness hinges upon how deeply connected to yourself you are. How deep is your connection to your divinity? Because the deeper the connection to your divinity, the deeper the connection to you. And the deeper the connection to you, the more full, the more whole. But people think, no, that's counterintuitive. I don't want to connect to me. I want to connect to somebody else. I want the loneliness to go away, Kerry. I don't want to be alone and connect to me. I can do that all the time. But then do it. And when it's done, you'll stop feeling lonely. And when you stop feeling lonely and start feeling connected, you don't live in longing. You don't live with a sense of something's missing from my life. Instead, you live with fullness. And then watch how you connect to other people and watch how other people connect to you, because that one fundamental foundation is in place, and it is, I'm connected to me. People say things like this to me all the time. They say, I wish I was seen. I have this hurt, this pain inside of me. I feel so unseen. And I say to them, then you must see yourself. That's what that hurt is. It's just being reflected by others, but ultimately it is yours. It is you who needs to see yourself. And when you do, watch how you'll be no longer invisible. Well, that was a bit of a pun right there, but you know what I mean? See how that sense of, oh, wow, I am real. Kind of like you're breathing life back into yourself. And when you breathe life back into yourself, everyone treats you as if you're alive instead of as if you're invisible. Connection, when you're connected to yourself, is going to bring connection. It can only but be reflected to you from the external world. Now, some people will say, all I want is the inner connection and that's me, done, I'm good. And other people will say, I want both. I want the inner connection and the external connection. And it's absolutely up to you, the individual. You can have one or both, but you cannot have external connections and no internal connection. You cannot be empty on the inside, devoid of connection to yourself, yet somehow be full on the outside. Can you imagine the pressure that puts on other people? That's where codependency is born. Because now you're going to have a feeling of, unless this person's next to me, I'm not whole. Unless my friend, my lover, my whoever it is around me, I'm going to fall to pieces. So codependency is going to come from you being incapable of conjuring that sense of fullness from within you. And when you do, it's yours and it belongs to you and no one can ever take it away. It makes you kind of indestructible in relationships because you know that. You have such a sense of solidity within you. And you know, a lot of people are afraid of that. A lot of people have said to me in the past, I don't want to be self-sufficient. I don't want to be whole on the inside because then I won't need anyone. And if I don't need anyone, I won't look for anyone and I won't find anyone. And then I'm just going to be lonely. This is the most backwards, counterintuitive idea imaginable, which is understandable because we were born to the false matrix. So we think backwards. We think in reverse. That's exactly what the false matrix conditioned us to do. The truth is, wholeness begins within you and it becomes a ripple that emanates from you, attracts those around you to you of a similar vibratory frequency. And so connections start to happen. But remember this. This is important. When you feel a sense of separation from others, we know, okay, so that's actually a sense of separateness from self. But be very specific. It's not just separation from self. It's separation from your divinity. That particular aspect of self called your divinity. Let's talk about that for a moment. Your divinity, I want you to imagine it as a golden spark within you. Behind me, I've got 2 candles, right? So that's a very good visual. Just imagine that there's like this flame, little flicker inside your chest. And let's call that the God spark. And I want you to hold this visual. Now, some of you, by the way, I know are going to be very, very visual, and others of you are going to go, Kerry, I can't visualize. I'm buggered. I can't do the exercise. You can. In fact, if you can't visualize, you actually have an advantage because all you can do then is feel. And I want you to feel much more than you see. So pay attention. I'm going to give you this exercise, but pay attention not to the visuals. Pay attention to the feelings. I want you to imagine that there is this little flicker inside of you, little flame inside of you, and that flicker, that flame is the God spark. And the God spark is an aspect of God. God, source, creator consciousness that lives inside of you, but it's sleeping and it's dormant until you see it. And when you see it, it lights up. And as it lights up, it ripples into the rest of your cells, waking them up, and your cells start communicating with each other and you start feeling whole again. And that starts glowing from you and growing from you and rippling into others. Let's take this visual a step further now. Imagine not just your God spark lit up within you. Imagine with me now the totality of that which we call God source consciousness. Imagine that as a surrounding bubble of light, and it's gold and it's bright. So you've got this little flame, this little flicker inside of you, right? But you're surrounded by many layers of this bubble of golden light that is God's source consciousness. So you're understanding that you are in fact encapsulated by this bubble, encapsulated by, because you are surrounded by creation, because you can never be separate from that which created you. It's impossible. You can feel it, you can imagine it, but in truth, you cannot be separate from that which you are. And that which you are is a part of divinity, a part of the wholeness of God's source consciousness. That is what surrounds you right now. That is a force field. That is this glowing light. You've got an ember of it in your chest, and you're becoming aware of the totality of it around you, and even aware of the multiple layers that this bubble of light actually exists in. We call those, just by the way, we call those different dimensions, those different layers of God's source creator consciousness. So what you're getting a sense of is yourself in the middle, and how you are infinitely and eternally connected to home. And there's a wash of warmth that surrounds you when you bring in that word home. And something inside of you remembers, and it's not your brain, something inside of your body consciousness remembers, oh yeah, home. I remember that place, home. I know that frequency because, of course, you do. You're a part of it. It literally left a part of itself in your chest. That glowing ember, that God spark that lives inside of you, that circulates throughout your body. It ripples not just through your body, but through the whole of the cosmos, through all of creation, until it reaches God's source consciousness itself. And then guess what happens? Once you become aware of that ember inside of you and how it's the same as that gold light that surrounds you as the totality of all creation, also known as God's source consciousness. The two pieces of divinity begin to co-resonate. That within your chest and that is surrounding you, these two lights, if you will, that within your chest and that surrounding you, they come into co-resonance and they begin to breathe as one and be as one. And there's your body encapsulated in the middle of this divine homecoming. Can you feel that? Can you feel that living, circulating, pulsing, breathing inside of you? That is connection. That is connection to your divinity. And in the connection to your divinity, loneliness is impossible. Because as you connect to your divinity, you realize not just that you're a part of everything, but that you are everything. And above all else, you are loved. And on that note, I'm going to love you and let you go for now. Come back again for the next video. Make sure that you've liked this, because it helps other people to see it. And I'd love for you to help me do that. Let's share this video. So please go ahead and do that. Share it to your groups, to your friends, email them, put it in a love note for them. We're going home together. And we came here for this. We came here to walk each other home. From my heart, all the way into yours. I do hope you feel it. Let me know in the comments below what this process was like for you. Bye-bye for now.